there is such a vicious person in the world. In order to avenge his father's death, he did not hesitate to let all kinds of poisonous insects attack him. The poison spread all over his body with blood in an instant, and the evil aura was chilling. The man's name was Yuan Li. 18 years ago, his father had killed many righteous people in the martial arts world. Su Wankun, the first fierce general of the Qing Dynasty, learned about this, and in order to enforce justice, he killed him completely. Out of pity, he adopted Yuan Li and his sister Xiaoying. Xiaoying and Su Chan had been in love since childhood. After they got married, they gave birth to a son, named Beggar. However, the situation at that time was turbulent. The court had to quell the civil strife and face the invasion of Western powers. Su Can and Yuan Li, who were extraordinary, also joined the military camp, and they worked together under Beilei. In a battle, Su Can risked his life to rescue Beilei. He became famous in this battle, and was promoted to the 4th rank of the Northern Admiral. This made Yuan Li, who had always been unpopular, jealous. Su Can knew what Yuan Li was thinking. He was tired of fighting on the battlefield. He wanted to return to his normal life with his wife and children, so he was willing to give up the post of admiral. On Su Wankun's 60th birthday, Yuan Li, who was in a high position, returned home in glory. As he walked slowly forward, his expression became more and more sinister. As soon as the two of them met, Su Wankun sensed the murderous intent. Yuan Li waved his palm and hit Su Wankun with a poisonous palm, which made his blood surge. Yuan Li locked his throat and Su Wankun was bleeding on the spot. Xiaoying saw her brother's despicable murder. She fled with her son in a hurry, but was caught by Yuan Li's men. When Su Can came back from shopping, the birthday banquet had turned into a bloody banquet. Seeing the corpses everywhere in the house, Su Can was heartbroken. At this moment, several hidden weapons suddenly shot out from the beams. It turned out that Yuan Li had already arranged assassins in the house, and he planned to completely eradicate the roots. But they underestimated Su Can's skills, and they all fell to the ground in a few rounds. The assassins were no match, so they rode away quickly. In order to find out the whereabouts of his wife and children, Su Can chased all the way to the edge of the cliff, and Yuan Li had been waiting there. Su Can rushed forward with a big knife in his hand, and his movements were swift. Unexpectedly, although Yuan Li was unarmed, he remained calm. It turned out that he had embedded the black gold soft armor on his skin inch by inch, so that he could be invulnerable to swords and guns. Su Can swung his knife with anger, but still could not break the defense. Yuan Li just crossed his hands with his bare hands and actually split the steel knife in two. Then the two of them started a close combat, and the enraged Yuan Li immediately used his hands to exercise his power. The black poison spread from his palms. Because his hands have been feeding poisonous insects for many years, as long as they are slightly touched, the poison will spread instantly. At this time, Su Can, who was hit, was no longer an opponent, and the terrifying poison spread throughout his body at a speed visible to the naked eye. He was stepped on by Yuan Li. Just as Yuan Li was about to kill him, Beggar hurried to protect his father. Now, Yuan Li only thought of his sister and nephew in his heart. He would not kill his biological father in front of the child. He lifted Su Can high up and threw him into the turbulent river without hesitation. Xiaoying, who was concerned about her husband, broke free from her restraints and jumped off the stage. The two of them were stopped by a broken tree in the shallows and luckily saved their lives. To save her husband, Xiaoying made a stretcher with branches and moved forward with difficulty. Even though her hands were bleeding, she never gave up on her lover. But she was a weak woman after all, and she was exhausted under the scorching sun and fell to the ground. Seeing that Su Can was about to slide down the cliff, Sister Yang, who was collecting herbs in the mountains, passed by and successfully rescued him. It happened that Sister Yang was a famous doctor nearby. She only used a silver needle to force out the poison in Su Can's body. But his right arm was unfortunately broken, and he could no longer practice martial arts. He couldn't even hold a bowl of rice. All this made Su Can completely despair. He got drunk every day and then lay motionless in bed, as if he had become a useless person. Fortunately, Xiaoying was always by his side. His wife's words made Su Can wake up, and he began to cheer up again. He trained crazily. He used a 100 jin wooden stake to exercise his fingers, and he stood upside down every day to strengthen his arm strength. After day of hard training, Su Can actually mastered the iron finger kung fu. He was stronger than before. Little did he know that being obsessed with martial arts all day would lead to obsession. On this day, Su Can practiced as usual, and he saw two top masters standing on the tree. They were extraordinary in their lightness skills, and they could walk on the cliffs as if they were flat ground. In order to explore martial arts, Su Kan chased after them regardless of everything. The man in front of him was the legendary martial arts god Lao Zhou. In order to learn superior kung fu, Su Kan risked his life to fight him. Unexpectedly, Lao Zhou kicked Su Kan 10 meters away with just a light kick. Su Kan's attack with all his strength was like slow motion in his eyes. After the two of them fought, Lao Zhou was not even touched by a kick. In the end, Su Kan was kicked so hard that he vomited blood. Although Su Chan was no match for Lao Zhou, Su Chan did not give up. He would come to spar with him every day. Gradually, his martial arts improved greatly. He could not last more than 3 rounds before, but now he could fight back and forth. Xiao Ying accidentally passed by Wanfo Cliff that day and was shocked by the scene in front of her. She saw Su Chan fighting with the air, and he kept muttering to himself. When Su Chan came back, he told Xiao Ying how well he had practiced today. At this time, Xiao Ying realized that her husband had gone crazy. However, Su Kan, who had fallen into madness, did not believe it at all. He even suspected that Xiao Ying had hallucinations due to illness. He challenged the god of war again the next day, and his punches and kicks were not inferior to the god of war. After he dodged the god of war's one yang finger, he turned his palm into a fist and attacked his chest. The god of war flew backwards immediately. Finally, the figure of the god of war disappeared between heaven and earth. He closed his eyes tightly and punched the white-bearded old man. The illusion suddenly disappeared. Su Kan successfully defeated his inner demon. When he returned home, he was about to tell Xiao Ying the good news, but he saw the farewell letter on the table. It turned out that Xiao Ying missed her son so much that she risked her life to rescue him. She begged Yuan Li to let them go, but Yuan Li was unmoved. He ordered people to put Xiao Ying in a wooden box and buried her deep underground. Su Tan knew that his wife was in danger, so he rode away decisively. He rushed into the governor's mansion with a knife. To save his wife and children, Su Kan's rage was raging. Su Kan swung his knife and chopped down, but was easily blocked by Yuan Li. Fortunately, Su Kan was no longer the same as before. He took advantage of the momentum of the horse and kicked him to the ground. When he took the opportunity to untie his son's anklet, Yuan Li suddenly attacked from the side. Then they started a life-and-death struggle here. The two of them fought their way into the secret room. Yuan Li stood up and wanted to perform the 5 poison palm technique, but was caught off guard by Su Kan. At this time, it was impossible to determine the winner. Yuan Li broke through his shirt and rushed towards Su Kan with both palms. Under the continuous fierce attacks, Su Kan was knocked down the well. The two of them faced each other in the well, less than 3 feet apart. Su Kan actually had the upper hand in their fight. Yuan Li, who noticed something was wrong, rushed out of the well. Su Kan then used his own iron finger magic skill and broke through the soft armor defense. At this time, Su Kan found the right opportunity, wrapped the iron chain around his palm, and took Yuan Li's poisonous palm with overwhelming force. The following battle became a one-sided crushing. Even though Yuan Li had the black gold soft armor to protect his body, Su Kan used the iron finger skill to strip off all the soft armor. Finally, he punched Yuan Li in the throat with a powerful punch and successfully avenged his people. At this time, Fenger told Su Kan that his mother was buried alive. At this time, Su Kan completely collapsed. He rushed into the rain and searched frantically. Fortunately, the box was washed away by the flood, and they finally found the location. But Xiao Ying, who was dug out, had already stopped breathing due to lack of oxygen. Su Kan held his wife's body and screamed to the sky. The pain of losing his wife hit him again. After that, Su Kan was like a walking corpse. He and his son gradually became beggars. When Su Kan asked for drinks in the restaurant that day, he seemed to see the martial god who had once sparred with him. Su Kan saw that he was being teased, and he immediately cleaned himself up and stepped forward to snatch the wine jar. Lao Zhou staggered, just like a drunkard. But it was his irregular steps that made Su Chan dizzy. After being knocked down one after another, Su Kan gradually realized something. So he followed Lao Zhou's movements. Su Kan, who was extremely talented, learned this set of drunken boxing under Lao Zhou's instruction. The Qing government at that time was extremely corrupt. In order to make money, foreigners set up big rings and they did not hesitate to harm martial artists. At this time, there was a cheer in the boxing gym, and the fallen Chinese was thrown out directly. Not long after, another Chinese walked onto the ring. After a few rounds, the Chinese was no longer able to fight. Seeing that he was about to die here, a little boy rushed onto the ring and bit the thigh of the one-eyed man directly. But the little boy was lifted high and was about to be thrown off the ring. Fenger could only desperately call for help from his father. Hearing his son's voice, Zhou Xun suddenly jumped up and flashed forward. He gathered his strength and punched hard, and the one-eyed man's blood surged and fell to the ground. The British were furious at this, and they sent out thugs to start a round-robin battle. Zhou Xun's mysterious drunken boxing made him invincible. As more people came, Zhou Xun gradually began to lose strength. They took out their daggers and stabbed at him. In just a moment, Zhou Xun was injured in many places. For the sake of national dignity, a set of ghostly drunken boxing knocked his opponents to the ground. Unexpectedly, the British secretly injected stimulants into his men. The strong man only needed one punch to beat Zhou Xun, who was unable to resist. Then the strong man captured him firmly and used a death god's killer move. As he suffered a heavy blow to the head, Zhou Xun's eyes were instantly unconscious, and he fell to the ground in embarrassment. He vaguely saw his son off the court. Just as the strong man was about to kill him, Zhou Xun actually climbed up and wrapped his neck. He finally killed the strong man, and he himself was hit hard to the ground. At this critical moment, he seemed to hear his wife's call. The power of love is so strong. With the help of his son, Zhou Xun stood up. The whole audience was boiling, and all the Chinese cheered for him. Zhou Xun not only defeated the British, he also won dignity for the Chinese people. From then on, he found the direction of his life, and he continued to study martial arts with his son. A generation of drunken boxing also spread from then on.